Happy Monday.
What's up, y'all?
Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
How we living, everybody? What up, Manu? What up, Michael? Wicked Fairy. What's up, y'all?
Yeah, Manu Miami Seller Conference this week.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that before we hit record. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. We're all going to be there, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, come say hi, Manu. No,
G-Body Vents will be too.
Is
Yeah,
he
Manu
already
was at
traveling? Is that where Garrett is today?
Yeah, G-Body Vents is in Mexico right now.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I saw him traveling on the IG. I didn't know if he was just here early or if he was hitting something else up.
Nah, bro, that's love, man. That's love. We got wait, Manu, make comment on the post in school and I'll add you to the group chat. What up? Hey guys, Premier Visa Consultancy. Caleb, good to see you, family. What up, Abel? Can't wait to see y'all again. Yes, yeah, Manu was at Sellers United as well, too.
Yeah, I remember meeting him there.
Afternoon, guys. I'm a brand new seller. I'm finding things that are profitable, but everything is gated. I want to get into cosmetics. Do you have a brand recommendation for an easy ungate? So all of those things that you found profitable, as long as you can apply for those ungates, you'll be good to go. Because if the ungating didn't work, there'd be no sellers on those listings. Right? So you're good to go on those nice and easy, man. Yeah. So just buy 10 from a big retail website right there and go ahead and get those guys approved.
Absolutely. What up, Santiago?
What's up, guys?
See you, Santiago.
As you guys are coming on here, let us know if you have any questions we can answer for you as well. We're live every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Usually there's 4 of us with 8 figures of sales experience between all of us as well. So wholesale, online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, pretty much anything you got questions about. It's always always good to see you guys.
Corey, you should we should I'll see what do you guys plan on doing Saturday?
Probably just do a lunch with some people in the community and then just kind of hang out. We don't have a ton of plans for Saturday.
Are you planning on sun maxing?
Yeah.
Remember when you were sun maxing at the pool like a year ago?
I got fried within 30 minutes.
I knew you were gonna say that.
That was a fun day though. We were just hanging out there.
Yeah, with Romer. Peace, bro. None of those dudes are answering my calls. I've been blowing up Taylor's phone, waiting for him to pick it up with his big beard all over the.
Yeah, he's scraggly looking. No, that'll be so.
I love those guys. Yeah, bro. I can't wait to see all you guys. Oh my god, I can't wait to see all you guys. In Keepa Variations, we only look for accounts or anything else too, like price action. Yeah, take a quick glance at the buy box price action too, but primarily you're primarily going to be looking for the offer count movement on that. Hello, boys. I want to start my own private label. Give me some tips. So none of us have done private label. I'm definitely down to do private label in the future, but I have yet to do private label, so I can't be much help for you. We, talk about online arbitrage and wholesale, basically.
Yeah, Corey, you've done some brand direct though. You've created listings and stuff, I assume.
Yeah, so private label, it's tough if you're a newer seller. So I don't know your experience level, but if you're brand new, I wouldn't recommend starting with that route. But if you are experienced, then it really helps to do private label in a category or a subcategory that you know. So if you have an interest in certain things, or if you do have certain hobbies, then that might be a good place to look. If not, then I would take a course on how to do it, because there's just a lot of money at stake, and you don't want to you don't want to launch a bad product or launch a product improperly and end up losing a lot of money in the process. So definitely do so with the guidance of like a person or a course of some sort.
Just sell a bunch of stuff that already sells first though.
Yeah,
definitely go and take a big risk unless you have like $100,000 to just throw onto online business to test stuff out. It doesn't really make any sense.
Corey, what does that process look like of creating the listing? So do they give you access to like the brand registry for them, or how does that whole thing actually work? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so if it's an existing product, typically they'll just add you as an authorized user to their brand registry. And then you'll get the UPC code from the brand, like whatever they have registered with GS1. And then you'll use that UPC to create the listing and to launch the listing under their brand name on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the same process as if you were just creating like a generic listing, which obviously we would never do.
Yeah. Don't do. Yeah.
You just want to, you'll kind of do it under the guidance of the brand.
Okay. Any way to sell restricted items? Not if it doesn't let you apply, but if it does let you apply, then it's the same ungating process as anything else right there. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're looking at the buy box on Seller Buyer, some portions suppressed in a few products. So that just means like when you look at it, there's no add to cart button. Usually that just means Amazon thinks that the price is too high, something like that, which is usually good for us. It means that it's probably profitable.
Right.
And just make sure there's a history of stock counts decreasing. You can see sales on the sales rank, that kind of thing. And you're good to go as long as you see that.
So Michael said, is it worth buying cheap items from brands like Mattel and Disney and others, knowing you can make it back in the future, or wait to find something profitable? So Michael, if you're saying you're going to buy something and just hope that the price goes up in the future, I would not do that. I would stick to products that are going to be profitable on day one as soon as you buy them today. So yeah, we never want to. There are advanced strategies where people will buy certain toys or collectible products and wait 6 months or a year for them to go up in price. But that's really for people who know what they're doing. And
if you got like a ton of money, it's
so
kind of fun, but
not for what we're doing.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. I've done that a little bit before, but yeah, you got to have a little bit of money laying around.
So Brian asked this question. I want to touch on it because he asked it on my channel. So he said, are the products on your Shopify website also from your Amazon storefront? So Brian, you're probably referring to the Shopify site that I mentioned throughout my From Scratch series. So the products on my Shopify storefront are not necessarily products I'm selling on Amazon, but they are products that my distributor carries, right? So all I did is I had my VA go into my Shopify store and say, hey, copy over all the products that we have access to from our distributors onto our Shopify store. So now when customers buy from my Shopify store, which they do, we probably make 1 or 2 sales per week. We can simply drop ship. Yeah, which I don't know how. I have no idea how that
Where are they finding that?
I have no idea.
Think fans of your people who follow your socials just buy for the culture.
Literally, we'll make like 1 or 2, and but people will like DM us on Shopify being like, "Hey, do you have this part number? Hey, can you get?" I'm like, where the hell are you people finding?
Oh, so it's ranking then, because the domain's
it's ranking. It's got to be ranking for like some brand. Yeah,
it is. So
that's hilarious.
So we just drop ship from our distributor to that customer whenever we make those sales. It's super easy.
Yep, which you're obviously not allowed to do on Amazon. You can't drop ship on Amazon, but on your own website, you can do whatever you want. And then why do you actually have the website though? Because you'll hear me and my videos be like, the good part about this business is you don't need a website. So why do you actually have one?
Yeah, because when you're working with wholesale suppliers, if you're working with the brand or if you're working with the distributor, having a website just makes you more professional, right? Think about it. We're in 2025. If you ran across any other business, not e-commerce related, but any business, and you couldn't find a website for them, or they said they didn't have a website, that just makes them look unprofessional. So it's just a means of establishing more credibility and being more, more professional in the eyes of those suppliers that you're reaching out to.
Oh yeah, same as like the no Gmail. You reach out with a Gmail, you're getting a no almost every time.
Yeah, and these are like simple things that don't cost a ton of money that can really.
It's like literally what? It's like $6 for your own custom email usually.
Yeah, it's like $7 a month, something like that.
Let's see. Jerry's saying SKU formats are vendor cost state. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, like putting as much information as possible in there. And then do you create a new listing if it's a new buy cost? So technically, you're not supposed to have 2 SKUs in stock via the same fulfillment method at the same time. But the only thing that would really affect is if you're like relying on that for like your repricing and you forget that the price is actually like a $1 more. But on like when you're making those listings, like you just go into Boxum and you plug in the new cost and it'll still store properly. Just the SKU, if you want to restock while it's still in stock, the SKU wouldn't have like the correct buy cost on it. So just kind of need to remember at that point.
Yep, and just like Warner was saying, when you reprice, then you got to remember that stuff. But yeah, Boxum will set up those auto SKUs for you, which will make just tracking mentally in your head and repricing significantly easier. And we integrate with the Aura repricer as well if you want to send the buy cost manually too, as well. Roughly, how much are you paying your virtual assistants, and would you ever be afraid that they may take the work they created for you and turn around and monetize somewhere else as a competitor?
So, and he asked this on my channel, maybe I'll touch on it first. So Danton, I'm not worried about my VAs ever becoming my competitors. I'm definitely not worried about them competing with me themselves because my VAs are located in the Philippines and they just don't have access to the capital required to be competitive. And then I'm also not really worried about them going and working for another Amazon seller that would be my competitor, just because I take really good care of mine. I pay them well. They've been with me for a number of years. And typically, that's how most VAs are going to operate. If you pay them fairly, if you treat them well, if you help them grow, you help them learn and be better in their role, then they're not really going to have much reason to go elsewhere because they wouldn't want to risk the opportunity they have working for you. So that's my 2 cents. I'm curious to hear what you guys say.
Yeah, oh yeah, you got it, Warner.
Just treat your people with respect, and they'll respect you enough to not run away on you. Give them, The another really good one is to loop them in on a portion of whatever the business is making too, because then like a big problem, especially with like online arbitrage, is you hire somebody to find leads and they'll send the same leads to like 20 stores. But if you share profit with them on those leads, then they're not going to want to share that because they're going to want to take the profit bonus. A lot of times the profit bonus that we're sharing is bigger than their salary. So it's just like, set them up to succeed and make a lot of money if they're really good and they're not going anywhere.
My favorite story is in one really cheap country. A VA got a bonus of $1,000 and started investing in real estate. It's my favorite story.
That's awesome.
I've seen other people's VAs like buying literally like Benzes. Like
my VA is 2 houses and she just bought a car too. Like she literally has a house for herself and then one for her extended.
Yeah,
family.
when I hit 100K subs, I told my editor like 2 years ago, I'm sending him 10 grand. Yep. I'm gonna do that shit instantly.
He probably tracks it down to the
right, bro. Right when we hit that shit, I don't think he'll retire, but he's been the GOAT for literally 3 years, man. Over 3 years at this point, he's been my dog.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, so cost of VAs. Yeah, so it obviously depends what they charge. A primo VA with a shitload of experience might be like $10 an hour, right? But the vast majority of VAs you would be hiring, right, using onlinejobs.ph, typically going to be in the ballpark of starting salary of like $3 to $7 an hour, depending on what you need them for and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very role dependent. Baseline, you probably want to budget like $500 to $600 a month.
Yep. Yeah, and some part-time, a college kid might be on the lower end. Meanwhile, someone with a family and really good experience might be on the higher end,
Yep. Say, Santiago, if you want to do some RA, do you need anything besides salary? No, not for retail arbitrage, because you're just looking at the charts, figuring out if, looking at making sure everything's profitable.
So I talked with a really cool Amazon CS. I've been turned away on 5 ASINs. I guess if you have an Amazon seller's account that is like 2+ years old, they will accept 10 unit invoices for 100. I believe it. I mean, I believe
it too.
I feel like older seller accounts, especially ones that have a lot of sales on them and a lot of reviews on them, can get away with so much more than could newer seller accounts, right? Amazon seems to have very little tolerance on certain things for newer seller accounts, whereas older accounts can get away with a lot.
I've definitely seen a ton of new sellers getting away with 10 units though. So like, don't hear that and think you're screwed if you're listening.
Yeah, that's not to say that new sellers are screwed by any means. Just my observation over the years.
Yep. Damn, that's my new goal. Get my VA enough chips to buy a bunch. Bro, Brian been scaling too. I've been seeing Brian on Twitter there. Yep. Guys, yeah, onlinejobs.ph is awesome. Upwork would be mainly, and like stuff like Fiverr would be mainly for like, gig workers, but onlinejobs.ph tends to be where folks are looking for, full-time positions over the long term.
And same with Upwork too, right? Upwork is more gig work than it is like finding an actual employee, right? Fiverr and Upwork are good if you're looking for a one-off task. Like what I mentioned earlier, I had somebody on Fiverr build out my Shopify site that I mentioned. That was great because I didn't need a website designer on staff full time. But when I needed somebody like an admin in my business for 20 hours a week or somebody in operations for 40 hours a week, then I went to onlinejobs.ph because those are people who are looking for steady, regular employment. Yeah, they want actual jobs.
You can find some killers on the gig sites, but you don't want to, especially most of you guys are probably looking for people like source products and that kind of stuff for you. The Upwork sites are definitely have people working for multiple people.
Yep.
Cole's works funny. Yeah, you're good.
Yep. They red flag. They say don't ungate this guy. Nah, not the trust. Like you just it's. It's just a system where a lot of people get declined. You'll get declined a couple times. Key submitting. It's completely normal. It's expected. Happens to all of us. Corey even asked an ungating question a year ago to warn.
Yeah, that was funny. That I forgot about that.
we might be sneaking that one back in.
That was we were talking about that last week too, man. Yeah, we were talking about that last week as well.
Yeah, that was funny.
Okay, Corey, what's your Condesa intake going to be this week? How many Condesas per day are you thinking?
Minimum one.
Minimum one. Okay, so baseline 1.0.
It depends on what we do for second dinner, because if we have a big second dinner every night, then usually I'm going to wake up a little full. And that's going to kind of deflate my Condesa.
Condenses per day. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Minimum
Gotcha.
one, most likely
The
two.
the CPD, the MPD, the
Yes. Yeah. You got to make sure your MPD is very strong to at minimum baseline, Corey.
Greater than 2.0 is what.
Yeah.
we keep.
2.0. That'd be a world record. Steven would be
record.
proud of that. Yeah. Steven would be proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I search for my first all-in arbitrage product? Yeah. So basically just go to either Warner and I's sourcing videos and then find some of the winning items we take a look at and then storefront stock from there. Don't just go to random websites and look at our clearance sections, right? What makes a lot more sense is looking inside the storefronts of sellers you already know are making money, right? Seeing what they got and going and tracking those items down profitably right there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, if you're asking about how do you find your first product, there's a bunch of videos Miles and I have made as far as OA sourcing. I think most recent was actually a really cool interview drop today, but lots of recent OA sourcing videos on the channel. You can also look at auto ungated sourcing.
That's going to be a great place to start too.
No excuse as far as brands you're currently gated in. You just sell stuff that's already ungated for everybody.
Leeman said, should you hop on a listing FBM if every seller is FBA? So my answer is typically no, right? Because we want to jump on listings where there's already FBM sellers who are getting the buy box. Is that right, guys?
100%.
So if there's no FBM sellers on the listing at all, if it's all FBA, then you're probably not going to get many sales as an FBM seller, if any at all.
If any. Yeah, most likely none, honestly, on that. Yeah, most likely none on that. Yep. FBA took too long for products to be ready on the 14th. Yeah, that's a little bit longer than it'll typically take, but you are right that sometimes that'll take a little longer there too, as well.
Oh, I see we got Adrian. What's up, Adrian? Missed your message a couple minutes ago there. Let's see, a couple questions we didn't hear a couple minutes ago too. Your listing see offers higher than the buy box. How can you become actually price competitive? I assume you mean. Yeah, so you'll see a lot of listings, especially if you ever see the buy box price line hopping all over the place, that's a great sign. That usually means that it's selling really well and it's rotating between lots of different sellers, and Amazon's like, we don't care if you're $1 more expensive. We just need somebody to get it to a customer with nice 2-day prime shipping, right? So if you're seeing people make sales at those higher prices, a lot of times you can set your minimum below the highest prices you're seeing sales at, and then above the cheapest ones, right? So you can only make those higher profit sales basically.
My coffee is West Coast and most of my sales are East Coast. I do FBM on the West Coast. Sounds like you should be FBAing those guys too for the high and take advantage of the prime bump, because that's definitely in a buy box nationwide. Finally hit 100 units sold. Yes, sir. W's in the chat for Daniel. Come on, Daniel. That's what I'm talking about right there. Next up 1,000. Next up 1,000 right there. Attaboy. Yep.
100 be days.
100%.
Sure,
people every day. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, people every day.
Just got to submit there. Yeah, vids, you can hit up seller amp support there. Haven't heard of that, but yeah, if you're having an issue getting an account, support at selleramp.com.
Yep, we'll hook it up on that right there.
Yeah. You find these faster FBM. Interesting, yeah. That might make sense, but you can do both too, Revelations. Yeah. You might as well do both, because you're gonna sell to some new customers FBA and some people who would only buy FBM and so on, right?
Yeah, if you've got a listing that's selling well FBM, then you might as well send some units into FBA and keep some units for FBM and have both, right? Have an FBM offer and an FBA offer on the same listing, and you could do really well.
Yep. Yeah, Johnny, just look up Ungating Guide on YouTube. Miles and I both have good videos on that.
Show you everything you need to do that.
What up, 100 ROI?
Yeah, hey, 100 ROI gonna be in the cut this week.
One Houston win away from from $1,000 from Boxum, unfortunately.
Yeah, hey, Michael, don't worry though. I drinks on me, and actually, more importantly, drinks on Avery this week, because they got the open bar too, as well. But yeah, 100 ROI gonna be in the cut this week for sure.
I think I just noticed that he has his handle on his hat too. So
I literally
just noticed that.
I just noticed that too.
That's sick.
No, I've been hit to that.
Sick.
Yeah. No, I've been hit to that, bro. I remember when Michael and I caught the DAP in Vegas. That shit was lit. Right there. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Revelations says I love that hat.
We should all have hats with our usernames on it. That'd go hard.
Yeah.
I love that hat. LOL. Yo, what up, Finding Thomas here? Yeah, and so basically, you guys have heard us, scheming a little bit on hanging out this week, right? And that's because the Miami Sellers Conference is this week. Now, none of us own the Miami Sellers Conference, contrary to popular belief, right? But we will be in the cut right there. It's going to be a good time. It's basically like a kind of like a once a year family reunion for sellers. Then for those of you guys on the West Coast, we'll be at the ASD trade show in August as well. Let me see the dates for that this year here. Let's see trade show here.
It's usually like early first week in
Or,
August.
yeah, it was later in 2023.
It's also
Let's see.
it's usually like more of a good opportunity if you just want to get some wholesale deals going too.
Yeah.
I know. How have you seen like the quality of going there as like an actual trade show, Corey? Is it still worth it just from a wholesale perspective?
So I'd say it's mainly worth it from a wholesale perspective to go and just learn how to talk to vendors. So the issue with ASD these days is, the quality of suppliers has gone downhill significantly. So there are going to be a lot of suppliers there that are not authorized, that have products that would not stand up to Amazon's documentation requirements.
Be careful for sure.
But it's good. It's good to go and, one, to meet other sellers, because there's a lot of Amazon sellers there. So to grow your network of other sellers, and two, go just to practice talking to vendors, like literally practice just walking up to booths and having conversations with people. Even if you don't buy anything the whole time, or even if you only talk to suppliers who aren't a good fit, you still got a lot of practice having those conversations. And that in and of itself makes it super worth it, because that's the hardest part for some people. When we took our community up to the Great Outdoor Show up in Pennsylvania, I mean, there were guys that I was with who were good wholesale sellers. Like they know how to sell wholesale. They've been doing the business. But when it came to actually approaching booths, they were scared. Like they didn't want to do it. I had to make one guy, one of my buddies, Jesse, shout out to Jesse. I forced him. I'm like, dude, like go talk to them. Like go over there and do it. I had to like give him a pep talk and like make him do it.
Wingman
and he
Corey?
did. Huh?
Wingman Corey?
No,
Yeah,
I was no
Corey.
wingman. I threw him into the fire. I'm like, dude, like go, just go have the conversation with them. Like you're a customer, right? They want to work with you. So just go talk to them and watch, see how not big of a deal it is. And he did. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I was just hyping it up in my head. Like it wasn't a big deal at all.
Yeah. The same applies for people who are hogging all the opportunity, like kind of putting themselves out there. I know a bunch of you guys in chat, you've got a little bit of a social media presence and you've seen some money from that. And most people are like too scared to like make the first post. As soon as you do, like it gets a lot less scary. Same goes for buying a product, right? The first time you drop $100 on something, it's like, what am I doing? Then it's $1,000, then it's $10,000 on a product. Like, am I buying $10,000 worth of like some lavender tea right now? I guess so.
Okay, so ASD this year is the 3rd to the 6th, which is tragic because that directly overlaps with Brick Fair, Virginia, which is tragic right there. So unfortunately, another year, that'd be my 7th straight year of not attending, which is heartbreaking right there. But it is what it is. So yeah, prep centers typically charge around $1.5 per unit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're having some issues with Section 3. If you open 2 separate accounts, then you might have actually broken the rules. Because unless you if you sold the same thing on both accounts, then yeah, you kind of deserve the ban. If you did not, though, then there's like a video on my channel. You can look like Section 3 Fields of Profit. There's a video I talked out like the whole process with one of my buddies who beat his Section 3.
What does offers mean on SellerAmp? It simply means the number of sellers on the listing. So like the number of offers.
Yep. What's up, Dan? You said you've been making sales with RA. How should you start OA? Yeah, off to a good start, man. So
That's fine.
like the lowest hanging fruit is a couple brands that they already sell well. That they're probably some easy places to create some discount. You can also start sourcing directly from Marshalls or wherever you've been looking. Most of those stores have websites, and then beyond that, you can just start digging into just watch us source on YouTube for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then just do exactly what we're doing. To be honest, it's not rocket science. It's just consistent progress of learning how do I create margin on each different website that I'm seeing stuff, and what brands am I seeing a lot of other arbitrage stores, basically.
Miles, I had somebody recognize me in public yesterday for the first time that wasn't from one of your videos. Remember how I told you that I was walking down the street in Charlotte and this guy walks up to me and he's like, hey, like, are you Corey? I was like, yeah. He was like, I recognize you from one of Miles's videos. I'm like,
That's
perfect.
love, man.
He ended up joining the community too at one point.
Oh, vibes. That's what's up.
Yeah. And then yesterday I'm just in the grocery store and this guy, I'm like looking, like scanning the shelf, and this guy next to me is like, Corey? Yeah. And he was like,
That's funny.
He's like, oh, I didn't know you lived in Charlotte. Like I follow you on Instagram. I'm like, that's crazy because I only have like 7K. I have like way less than you guys.
Yeah,
So just it
that's
feels
what's up.
really weird getting noticed. But yeah,
Right
that's cool.
there.
I think Trey bought you a coffee there, Miles.
That's love, Warner. I get scared
Asking me
buying
a question,
dated
I need a
products
coffee. All right.
when they ask for 100. Is it true I only have to buy 10? So that's what we're seeing work for a lot of folks right there. So that's what we're going to recommend. Yeah. If you have one video to recommend for people that want to learn, our free courses. So you just search Flips4Miles free course, Fields of Profit free course, right? Right there, I'm finally getting some sales. I pretty much ungated most brands I try to sell. Found some great sales from Sally Beauty and other makeup products. Beautiful.
Nice.
Very good. Don't even worry about doing product finder search. Just storefront stock, and that's going to show you more products from those same suppliers. It's going to be a good way to get going on that too as well.
But that's a really good. I mean, Thomas, you're doing exactly what Miles and Warner teach, right? Is like find products that are already doing well that other people are already selling. Because the idea is if other people are already selling it, if these are reseller heavy listings, then that means that they're profitable, right? That means other people are making money on them. So it should be relatively easy for you to find them as well. So good job, because that is really the lowest hanging fruit and the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Well, let's see. Create an account a year ago. Still no sell. You can solve that in literally the next 2 hours. I'm going to assume you haven't put any real effort into it, but because you can solve that literally tonight. So go to a retail store, scan stuff with SellerAmp, load up storefront of anyone who's selling Stafford, Athletic Works, Red Heart. If you want to see that in slower, just look up auto ungated sourcing and you solve that tonight. That's kind of just you just got to take action.
Yeah, get on that, Bunny and Tiger. Come on, BT, you got that shit right there. All right, so we appreciate you guys tapping in for this Money Monday. We'll see you guys next Money Monday, and tomorrow we got SellerAmp Seller Hour at 4 p.m. Eastern too. As well. If I can give one piece of advice as a new seller, appreciate you, Santiago. Santiago's South Florida. Unfortunately, not going to be joining us this week for Miami Sellers Conference next time. Right out right there. So if anyone's interested in that, you can check the link in the description. Right out right there. And appreciate all y'all tapping in right there too. Put like a really good note from ChatGPT in the notes that says like, please have a human look at this, and then add a cover letter to the file. Make sure you're submitting everything in one combined PDF too. As well. So thank y'all for tuning in. We'll get Corey out of here early. No, I'm just playing. Have a great day. See you guys later.
See you guys next week.